go up to stay in Whitefish for like a week. Yeah. So we're gonna go to Spokane and hang with Dave and his family for like a day. And then it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive. So we're kind of wander there. Family from San Diego. And then we'll kind of go back the other way, like back out of Spokane. So on our way back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
I've never been up to. I mean, I've been to Spokane, but I haven't been to Montana before.
Yeah.
Looking forward to trying to.
Hey Rob, how are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, it's gorgeous up there. From got married in Big Fork, which is a farm in Whitefish. So it's got probably spent some week up there. Yeah, it's very nice. Did a float one day, fly fishing. Cool. It was awesome.
Matt, did you want to speak on non-agenda public comment? 2 minutes to speak on a topic that you like.
Is that a recap?
Kind of converting that type of use.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're out for 2. So. I'm just going from MLB batting average.
Yeah.
So you guys have a product up for potential funding on this? Okay, got it. And refresh my memory, I don't know which role.
Toronto is at Fairmont and Alcohol.
Okay, got it. It's just kind of city high school. Isn't a firm?
Oh yeah, bro, that one. Joining us at committees. Good. No, you were a council.
I'm never actually sure what
We got some good stuff
I
on the agenda today.
on the first Virginia Island.
Yeah.
That was so frustrating because
That one's usually pretty quick.
the front end.
Which is not
Front door on the other side.
Okay.
The intro was so great. I was like, oh, that's such a and the work did a really good job.
He helped me out.
Very good.
Form yet?
I mean, you know, a little hard to do still stuff. There's some limitations on what's this over?
Like your projection for next year, so that there's not a blind side. There's not a thing that you have a chance to adjust. More money, less money. Well, we know we gotta go to the it's a balance, but it's no Cormier.
So is Kent.
The changes you're making are only improvements.
Yes, of course they are.
More feasible. I know. Well, we learned the hard way. On this I'm in San Marcos State. It was like further units. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a different experience, but it seemed like you're down the It can be through areas
Testimony ends, whichever occurs first. This will allow for better meeting management between the two platforms and ensure the committee is able to manage. Chair Campillo.
Thank you. I'll call. Here, Councilmember Campbell. Here. Councilmember Foster. Here. I am also present, and present with us is Amy Lee, Senior Fiscal and Policy Analyst from the Office of the IBA, Deputy City Attorney Brian Bune from the Office of the City Attorney, and Chris Ackerman Avila from Policy Advisor from the Office of Mayor Todd Gloria. Sarah, let's go on with comment instruction.
Thank you, Chair. If you are in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of the committee room and place it in the tray indicated at the front of the room. Please do so in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. In-person testimony will conclude before virtual testimony begins, and members of the public can join the webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone by accessing the link which is listed online, and it is your turn to speak. If you wish to speak to a particular, it is your turn to speak. If you wish to go to an item, please wait for that item to be called. And for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda, for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of this committee, each to the front of the room at the reserved seats: Max Schmidt, Blair Beekman, allegedly Audra, and Admiral. And Ms. Sunyata, please begin.
Structural budget deficit. And Committee Member Foster, yes, equity is right there at the top. So I Googled economics. It's the study of how people, businesses, and governments make choices to allocate limited resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. Of course, the key word there is unlimited. It is essentially the science of decision. I never thought of it as a science. Which surprised me, but I'm going to Google that and learn about the science of economics. So we need an officially adopted plan to return to structural balance. Find our physical deficits now. So I threw this together this morning. I hope it made some sense. I'm going to really be focused on the structural budget deficit as we move forward after June. And I thank you so much for listening and working on this with me. Love to all.
Thank you for your testimony. Max Schmidt?
This is non-agenda public comment.
Correct. You will have 2 minutes, and there's a clock right in front of the lectern here that you can manage your
I just
time.
didn't know if we were on item 1 because I didn't. Okay, so as the clock says, okay, the clock is finally started working. All right, so I just wanted to say that there's a problem of Masonic telepaths like Raul A. Campillo, who says he's a moderate liberal, but he just plays moderate, he's progressive, and that they all split the vote 5-4 between moderates, but they're all progressives, and they all support the New World Order, meaning that they're all possessed by demons and want to create a one-world government without tariffs. And if you wave a Trump flag for hundreds of hours on the corner, then a bunch of Freemason telepaths will come up and try to like troll you telepathically, and you might try 5150 me for this, like you did in the past. But Raul A. Campillo this morning came up to me and he got me to have a telepathic conversation with him in his head, where he used neurolinguistic programming to say out loud, "How's it going, Max?" "Well," and my brain heard, "You're going to hell." And then I literally said back inside my own head, "No, Paul, you're going to hell." or no, Raul, you're going to hell. And then we had an argument telepathically back and forth. And don't you dare 5150 me, because I'm not crazy. Down with the occult. I'm not lying. I'm not crazy. I'm a homeless patriot getting abused in San Diego, and the San Diego City Council is perpetuating it, and it's disgusting, and I'm here to draw awareness to my name. My name is Maximilian Schmidt. My birth date is 4/1991, and there are psychos, complete utter psychos, like Raul A. Campillo, who's done human sacrifices and cannibalism in a Masonic lodge and doesn't drive a car and teleports, who is getting me to have arguments with him back and forth in my head, and then they'll take me to the psych ward and say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I just love Trump. I think he's the greatest president of all time. You should put him Mount Rushmore, and I'm not kidding. I think liberals and progressives are disgusting. Down with the New World Order. Down with the New World Order.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thank you. As we simply still have budget choices and options here in June, it's been my understanding San Diego city government can work in the next month to possibly end the current flock contract if city government staff and STPD can create something of an RLP process, I think it is called, and to find a cheaper ALPR vendor in the next few months. This can offer some budget savings of possibly $200,000 or more. But if San Diego city government cannot find a cheaper, well-principled ALPR vendor and contract in the next few-month time frame, San Diego will have to stay with Flock. The RLP process is a well-established constructive way to leave Flock at this time. I'm surprised this concept and other options were not more openly addressed at City Council yesterday. There is simply a continuing political will in the past year in San Diego to leave Flock. I've been describing for months now how both the City of Oakland and its County of Alameda are creating an 18-month step-by-step process of full community input and best practices to leave Flock for a new, better principled ALPR vendor. This is simply an important good model to refer to at this time. We have to continue to have ALPRs and PR and surveillance tech use in local San Diego neighborhoods each year. And from this, I feel we can still develop a very satisfying results with technology in local, that is my understanding that former councilperson Monica Montgomery Stepp, who helped facilitate the initial new ALPR purchases a few years ago, had always felt that the numbers of these new ALPR purchases could eventually be reduced. We have good holistic goals we can work on that I hope we plan for. Thank you.
Thank you. Allegedly, Audra?
You guys are interesting. You don't pay attention to the people that come up and talk, because I mean, why would you? And the way you're saying now you need a quorum, I'll take that as a win. I mean, Henry, you weren't here, but they were having no quorum doing the budget stuff and kind of in your face type of stuff, and now all of a sudden course correcting is happening, and that's great because that can always happen along the way in life. And it's interesting the way Joy was building every day, and yet, you know, you guys continue to ask.
Thank you. So that concludes testimony here in the committee room. So I'll begin the 5-minute timer for all those in the virtual queue to indicate if they wish to provide non-agenda public comment at this time. We currently have 5 hands raised, and we will begin testimony with Hector. Please unmute and begin.
Right. Looking at the budget, all these guys in San Diego were in France for 2 weeks with a sister city thing, and then he like throws the budget bait and switch the other way, like the track. Other way, where he took out everything. We're going to attend all these programs, and everyone's going, "Oh shit!" And then they kind of gave some of them back. When originally he wanted to take them back a little bit, but he's figuring out how can I do this and get them out without causing a lot of trouble. Do you think someone's going to choke them or something? Do you think someone's going to choke them or something? Anyway, the young guys got to rise up and kick all the old. The young guys got to rise up and kick all the old guys out, and go for it.
And what satisfaction survey says about their experience. I continue to be very uneasy about the young adult population, especially since the recent nationwide highly respected 2025 Moderating the Future came out. Among other items, it stated that cannabis use, whether it's over the past 12 months or the past 30-day or daily use, remain near or at recent high levels ever recorded among adults in the age groups of 19 to 30-year-olds. And with it comes an increase of the diagnosis of cannabis use disorder. Cannabis use disorder is a mental health condition in which you have issues fulfilling responsibilities at work, school, or home due to the cannabis use. And its use causes problems in relationships, and it makes worse ongoing physical and psychological problems like depression or anxiety. So thanks to you and the city for your internships programs and for not adding more marijuana businesses to our neighborhoods. A next step to support young adults would be to remove marijuana from our neighborhoods. Thank you for hearing my concerns this afternoon.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Becky Rapp. Please unmute and begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Becky Rapp, and I urge this committee to publicly oppose California Assembly Bill 2697, which would allow marijuana storefronts to operate drive-through sales. If this bill becomes law, it will further normalize and commercialize marijuana use, increase convenience and accessibility, and most importantly, raises significant public safety concerns, including impaired driving. But one of the most troubling aspects of this legislation is what it fails to address. AB 2697 contains no safeguards regarding children being present in vehicles during marijuana purchases. An adult could drive through a pot shop with children sitting in the back seat while purchasing high-potency THC products. There are no protections, no restrictions, and no acknowledgement of the message this sends to young people. We continue hearing from public health experts about rising youth mental health challenges, accidental poisoning, cannabis use disorder, and normalization of drug use among children and teens. Children's Hospital data has shown dramatic increases in cannabis-related pediatric exposures, and behavioral health providers continue to warn about the risks associated with today's high-potent cannabis products. Yet Sacramento is considering a policy that treats marijuana like a fast food item or a cup of coffee. That seems contradictory at a time when state and local governments are investing millions of dollars in prevention programs, behavioral health services, homelessness response, substance abuse treatment, and public safety initiatives. I urge this committee to voice opposition to AB 697 and ask San Diego state legislators to reject this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. The 5-minute timer has concluded with 2 hands remaining in the virtual queue. We will take no other callers beyond these remaining 2 hands raised. Francine Maxwell, please unmute and begin.
Afternoon, Francine Maxwell, Southeastern San Diego resident. I'm hoping that this committee will consider doing about the CPP. There were talks about a shared database. So when people are sharing that such and such is just so expensive, back in 2020, we had a CPP staffer, Elena Conde, who is the executive assistant to the executive director of the CPP, when we had interims, when we had real executive directors, when we had transitional executive directors. We were in talks with PANDA, Personnel Department, the Police Department, and CPP about a shared database and how much the shared cost would be and things like that. Everyone wants to reinvent the wheel when we have documentation that says we knew that we would not be up and standing for over 5 years. Not just because the meet and confer, but the shared database so that our complaints are everybody knows about the complaint. The CPP would know about the complaint, the police department would know about the complaint, and the city council would know because you're in charge of the CPP. Again, we need to bring back out the measure and make sure everyone reads it. But we did a lot of work in the transitional years when we had a former CRB executive director be the interim director. So please consider a hearing on the economics that can be saved with the shared database, with the oversight, the police department, personnel, HR, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for your testimony. And the final hand in our queue today is Judy Strang. Please unmute and begin.
Good afternoon, ED and IR. I'm speaking to the intergovernmental relations half of your title, and I appreciate your service on this committee. Regarding a piece of legislation that's making its way through, it's AB 455, regarding creating and supporting a policy that would bring secondhand and third-hand smoke protections into any new build going on here in California that is partially funded or solely funded by the state. This is because secondhand and third-hand smoke has been placed on the California Prop 65 list, which, as you know, requires a warning if those chemicals on the list exist in any business or development going on. The presentation I heard this morning came from San Diego State Center for Tobacco and Environment, and they indicated that a survey they conducted showed that as of this year, 98% of new builds that the state has been providing funding for have already put in place smoke-free ordinances. This policy, if the state completes adopting it, would begin in January of next year, and I would appreciate your consideration of AB 455 and ask our local legislators if they would please support it as it makes its way. This would make our housing so much more healthy for our families, and particularly for vulnerable populations who live in multi-unit housing. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comment. And Chair, this concludes non-agenda public comment.
Thank you to members of the public for their participation. We'll now move to committee members, mayoral staff, city attorney, IBA comment. Seeing none, do we have any requests for continuances? Seeing none, we will now dispense with the approval of the consent agenda. Any items to pull? Seeing none, Sarah, please proceed with the public comment.
Thank you, Chair Campio. The consent agenda portion of public comment is now open. It contains one, approval of committee minutes of May 13th, 2026. Item number 2, compensation of the B Street pedestrian corridor project. Item number 3, first amendment of software license and maintenance agreement. And item number 4, sixth agreement to disposition and development agreement with SDEEC LLC for the San Diego Energy Equity Campus at the Valencia Business Park. Each speaker will have 1 minute per item, not to exceed a maximum of 3 minutes. We will begin testimony with Joy Senyata. You have indicated you wish to speak to items 2, 3, and 4, so I will place 3 minutes on the clock.
All right, number 2, street pedestrian corridor project. A compensation is about $2 million. Resources of the RTTTF and the ropes. On the ropes, I'm quoting this, as long as the funds are programmed and available in the annual approval of the ropes. I don't know, for some reason that statement seemed vague because it was repeated again saying they had been approved, so I was a little unclear on that. But no impact to the general fund, so that's very, very good. Number 3, which is the First Amendment for software with REI. The EOC report shows underrepresentation of African Americans and female in management and financial and professional. On the workforce report, 601 total employees. Just some things I pulled out. 140 are really astronomical figures. On the workforce report, at the bottom of page 2, there were supposed to be 7 pages, but it ended at page 2. So I was disappointed that they hadn't included those extra 5 pages. I don't know why. So thank you on that. On number 4, which is the 6th amendment for the DDA with the company SDEEC. I like this San Diego Energy Equity Campus. Doesn't it have a wonderful ring to it? So, and that's Valencia Park. So under the EOC, they're exempt because they're small. Agreement. Thank you. They only have a few employees, so that was very impressive. What a challenging history there is on those 1 through 5 amendments. Amazing to read that, especially continued uncertainty in the financial markets. Isn't that continuing? And read that history of what this project has faced. So, Committee Member Foster, this is District number 4. So I'm really excited that this project goes through completion for you and all your good people. So thank you for listening and love to all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Admiral. And Admiral, you have indicated you wish to speak to consent item number 4, so I will place 1 minute on the clock.
Where's the timer?
Right in front of you.
Right in front of you, right, if you look right
Oh,
here.
there.
Yep.
Let me see how I do this. Good afternoon, Chair, committee members, and fellow San Diegans. They know me on the streets as the Admiral. I'm a proud veteran and resident of the 915 area, that's District 1. I'm here to talk about some economic development that can move our city forward. I'm going to talk about the arts and crafts. Okay, while you're approving key items today, like the 6th Amendment for the San Diego Energy Equity Campus at the Valencia Business Park, let's make sure that these projects deliver maximum for our students. I used to be a parent volunteer, and so this is real big for me. Arts and crafts aren't just hobbies. They're powerful economic drivers that pair perfectly with forward-thinking projects like the Energy Campus. Together, that can create real opportunity. So the 3 key takeaways that I want to say is hands-on career training, the pathways to good, paving local jobs, and equity and community leadership.
Thank you. This does conclude your time. Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is allegedly Audra. And would you like to?
I'll take 3 minutes. I'm not going to talk on the minutes. I feel like you guys spend more time on the toilet than you do in these meetings paying attention. And you guys are on your phone. You don't really care what people say. It's just like, get it over with. We got to get out of here. 30 minutes is too long. Anywho, so for your pedestrian corridor, it's nice to provide great spaces to go and walk and enjoy that, but when you are doing it, depriving people and pushing towards getting us out of our cars, that's the problem. Because you are acting like you're providing something when really you're taking away something and pushing a new way to live or be. And that is very dangerous, and people need to see that, because you guys wrap things up in a beautiful package, acting like we're doing this to better your life. No, you're doing it because it's a agenda that is coming down from higher echelons than you guys are at, and maybe you don't realize that you're a puppet for that. Or maybe you do and you're happy about it and you're getting paid some money. With the software agreements, I don't understand why you guys don't see it as a problem when there's a monopoly on these type of software programs that are being provided to the government. And of course, on the surface, it seems very nice because to be able to do work easily, but on the same token, when that is weaponized, it will actually take the government down. And this particular entity, REI, is not, it's employee owned, so it's not, it's joint partnerships and whatnot are not involved in that, and that data going to these people who want a monopoly on everything, ALPR, and that data being shared. But I think there is a bigger picture that nobody is really focusing on, and that is extremely egregious because it's like you're putting all of us at risk. And I mean, would you want like me to have a monopoly on your data? Would you trust that? No, you wouldn't. But yet we're giving everyone's data and all of your guys's, you know, extremely important infrastructure up to the hands of other people, and that's just dangerous. And then as far as these energy campuses goes, along with that danger, there's the danger of AI and all of these data centers, and the fact that it doesn't matter how much renewable energy you guys want to come and provide, they're taking our resources. Water, fresh water is being drained because of where these data centers are going. Like a 64-mile data center is going in Utah. That is terrifying to think about, where it's right next to water sources, and we don't have enough power on the power grid to even sustain these. And so when you're talking about renewable energy, that's like swatting at a fly. I mean, it's like, I just don't understand how you guys can't see the forest through.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maximilian Schmidt. 4 items, so you will have a total of 3 minutes to speak to the consent agenda.
Hi, hello. For consent agenda item number 1, approval of committee minutes, I think that we need to keep out lazy language. For example, the description, the following items are requests for committee actions and are considered to be routine. I underlined and are considered to be routine as lazy language, and I want to grill down on these progressive New World Order demon-possessed satanic Freemasons to take out the lazy language of the consent agenda, because it's poor work. Shame on you. And also, people may say I'm crazy because I'm like mentally ill or something and I don't know anything about mind control. I know a hallmark of mind control is they make it afraid for you to breathe and make you afraid of the sound of your breath. So I know what I'm talking about, and I'll stop here until the next item.
Thank you for your testimony. And the final speaker here in the committee room on the consent agenda is Blair Beekman. And Mr. Beekman, you've indicated you wish to speak to items 1 and 2, so I will place 2 minutes on the clock for you to manage.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Good stuff there, Max. Thank you. That was getting better. Thank you. Blair Beekman. As always, I want to speak first to item 2. As always, with pedestrian and bicycle projects like this, we have to take the steps to be more open, clear, and accountable with the technology and data collection that will be surrounding these projects. I can't stress enough the importance that as City Council, elected officials, and city government staff, you have to make the sincere efforts to begin to better consider ways in how to more openly and regularly discuss with the everyday community the growing amounts of biometric technology that is being used and will be used in our future pedestrian, bicycle, and public transit projects. And from this, to also note, I feel we simply need an open, accountable, full community conversation about STPD procedures, protocols, and guidelines with the future available. I hope we can find good connections with these agenda items, with these subjects, and these issues. Thank you. I also wanted to comment on meeting minutes process. You had an item about San Diego tourism, and I'm sure that relates to downtown tourism. I think if we are practicing the concepts of the good fight and what we can be doing with technology as a full community process, we got halfway there yesterday. how can we be inviting all parts of the community to really discuss the future of our technology use? I think I tried to present ways we can really be doing that. I think the city of Oakland awesome models and examples that we can be understanding better. And that, I think, can bring the community together to make really important choices. And when we make those good technology choices, people in San Diego, they want to see that good stuff. They want to see community working together towards a holistic whole, you know, a good future, and they'll come to that. Thank you.
This concludes testimony here in the committee room. So beginning the 5-minute timer for those in the virtual queue to indicate if they wish to provide comment on the consent agenda. We will begin with Hector. Please unmute, and if you can please indicate which item or items you wish to speak to.
I'd like to speak to 2 and 4.
All right, 2 minutes, please begin.
Number 2, I wouldn't waste any more money doing that kind of stuff. I would take the money and move out of the building you're in now and move out to Mission Valley, more accessible, and get a lease. Because eventually you got to tear down all the buildings you're sitting in now, and it's going to take a while, but it'll be a lot more accessible to the general public. To go, like the building department now has free parking, a 2-story building, and it's really convenient to go there in Mission Valley. And the leases are really cheap in Mission Valley. A lot of those guys are going bankrupt that own those offices. So just rent something until we get it together. And then on all the technology stuff, well, anything south of 8 is good for me. You can fund it, whatever they got going. But the technology, it's going to make it better. More technology you have, it's going to make it better for the rapid deportation. Everybody is going to go to the bank. He's going to limit bank accounts to guys, know your customer, that are illegal. They're going to do the medical things, the food stamp programs, all the different kind of programs. So the more technology are linked up to all that, the easier it's going to be finding to deport people. Just to get them, ICE can come in. ICE doesn't need any badges. They don't need stinking badges. They'll just be ICE, and they'll do it kind of incognito until everyone figures it out. And they'll have to send in the National Guard and protect them. But as soon as it's going to get real pretty quick when Trump stops the war, whatever, he's going to turn his attention here. And he does things fast. Yeah. He did not like the election results in the mayor of LA. Total fraud. The Democrats are total fraud with the election, man. It's just sickening. So anyway.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Our next speaker is Judy Strang. Please unmute and indicate which item or items you wish to speak to.
I'd like to speak to item 1 regarding the meeting notes from last month.
1 minute, please begin.
Thank you. I just want to correct the bill that I'm interested in. We spoke to it last month, and that bill number is AB 1695. And as an aside, thank you for an opportunity to call in from my workplace. It's always a little difficult if you can't find your glasses at your workplace when you get called. So thank you for your patience while I speak to you about AB 1695. Again, this bill would come into play in January of 2027 regarding anything that the state assists in any way in financing would be smoke-free. This is very much an equitable issue because lower income individuals who are especially at risk for the effects of second and third hand smoke have fewer housing options and cannot afford to move if they experience smoke intrusion in their life. This would be a great help for affordable housing that the state subsidizes. Again, that's AB 1695.
Thank you. And Chair, this concludes testimony on consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Thank you to all the members for your participation on these items. We'll now turn it over to committee members for questions, comments, and entertain a motion on this consent agenda. And I will kick us off by making a motion on the consent agenda. Do we have a second? I see we're tied with hands. But Vice Chair Lee actually had 2 up, so I'll give him a second. We will now have members register their vote. Vice Chair Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell?
Yes.
Councilmember Foster?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to information agenda item number 5. Sarah, please introduce the item.
Thank you, Chair Campio. Item number 5 is Bridge to Home Notice of Funding Availability, Round 7 Informational Update. And if you're watching on City TV or the live stream online and you'd like to dial in to speak, please call 1-669-254-5252, and when prompted, input webinar ID 160-340-6084#. Chair.
Thank you. We're very happy to have Christy Marcella, Deputy Director of Economic Development, and Michelle Morano, our Assistant Deputy Director of Economic Development, here for this item. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the introduction, Chair Campillo, members of the committee. It's our pleasure to present the Bridge to Home Round 7 informational update today. We'll need about 12 minutes for the presentation.
Very good.
This informational item discusses the recommended projects resulting from the 7th round of the Bridge to Home Notice of Funding Availability. And before highlighting these recommended projects, the overall goal of the Bridge to Home program is to increase the new construction, acquisition, and preservation of housing that will provide long-term affordability, so 55 years or longer, to individuals and families at or below 80% of the area median income. Additional objectives for the selection criteria for projects are listed on this slide, and they include leveraging city funding and using it efficiently while optimizing unit production, increasing permanent housing for individuals experiencing or at risk of homelessness, prioritizing housing in state-designated moderate, high, and highest resource opportunity areas, assisting with growth and experience for small and emerging local firms, and supporting opportunities for affordable child care within affordable housing. Between May 2021 and December 2025, there have Nardo, shown on the left, through to San Ysidro on the right. The Bridge to Home program has proven to be a valuable tool for allocating gap financing under negotiation from round. Loans will provide a total of over $122 million in affordable housing funding, creating 2,528 total apartments, including 2 affordable rental homes, of which 407 are permanent housing with supportive services. Round 7 was issued in February 2026, offering 10 applications requesting over $55 million were received in April of 2026. As used in previous rounds, including a financial feasibility analysis by Kaiser Marston Associates and an evaluation panel of city staff with expertise in affordable housing, community planning, real estate, homelessness services, successor agency, and community development. 3 loans totaling $16.5 million are recommended to create 430 affordable rental homes, including 128 for those considered at risk of homelessness, who earn 40% of or less of the area median income. 1 project is in the state's designated high resource area. These areas are typically have an underrepresentation of affordable housing development, but offer high levels of opportunities and resources. Another project is reserved for senior households. I'll now provide a summary overview of the 3 recommended projects in the following slides. The 4th and Brooks Senior Apartments is developed by a partnership of Hampstead Development Partners, LLC, and Hampstead Ascend Partners and Trestle Build. The site is located on 8 apartments for senior households. Earning 30 to 60 units are for households at 40% area median income or less. And again, these households are considered at risk of homelessness. The apartment community will incorporate energy efficient design, high performance building systems and lighting, and smart controls. The tables on this slide show the projected sources and uses of funding. The $7.5 million city loan provides approximately $75,000 per apartment, and when leveraged with multiple financing sources, the total project costs for residential and commercial uses are approximately $63 million. Please note that for this and all other recommended projects, the sources and uses of funds are based on estimates and assumptions in the NOFA submittal. The information may change during the negotiation process and will be finalized at closing. Additional details will be shared when we bring each individual affordable loan agreement back to City Council for consideration. Polk Avenue Housing, Unified School District owned property on Polk Avenue in the City Heights Mid-City community in Council District 9. It is in a transit priority area and near the City Heights Transit Plaza, a library, park, medical clinic, pharmacy, grocery store, and other commercial and retail uses. The new construction affordable apartment community consists of There are also 75 missing middle workforce housing apartments at 80% to 100% area median income, which will be available to school district teachers and staff. A portion of the former Central Elementary School buildings will be rehabilitated for new administrative offices and classrooms for the district's Trace School for Adults with Disabilities. Polk Avenue housing also includes a nonprofit spaces, event space, a commercial shared kitchen, a permanent rehearsal and performance space for the Fern Street Circus, and a separate 5-story parking structure. Natural ventilation. Our city loan provides approximately $18,000 per apartment. Multiple financing sources. The total project costs are approximately $172 million. Turalta South is developed by Wakeland Housing and Development. The site is adjacent to the Turalta Affordable Apartments completed by Wakeland in February. Nearby amenities include the Copley Price Family YMCA, Turalta Park, City Heights Park, a grocery store, schools, a clinic, pharmacy, library, and bus stops for 3 transit routes. Turalta South will be a 7-story, 2-elevator building, including a variety of studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments for households at 30 to 60% of the area median income. It will include a community room, a computer lab, 2 podium-level courtyards, a play area, bike storage, and parking. The project aims for LEED certification with an all-electric building, rooftop solar, highly efficient mechanical systems and insulation. Planted terraces and gardens will filter stormwater. These tables show the projected sources and uses. The $4 million city loan provides approximately $60,000 per apartment, and when leveraged with multiple financing sources, the total project costs are approximately $54 million. City staff will begin the process of negotiating with the development teams and finalizing the loan terms and proposed financing in the coming months. The development teams will proceed with best efforts to timely secure tax credits and other financing sources. Typical city financing is at 3% simple interest payable from residual receipts. It includes 55-year affordability covenants recorded on the property and will be monitored on an annual basis. The 3 Round 7 loan agreements will be presented to City Council for consideration in 2026. With approval, these projects will be docketed for City Council prior to state tax credit and other financing application deadlines. And EDD staff will continue to offer detailed briefings with council members and the independent budget analyst in advance of the City Council presentation to discuss the financial components of the proposed loan agreements. Staff is analyzing the potential timing of releasing a Round 8 of Bridge to Home, identifying funds that will be available based on budget priorities and timeline considerations. And this completes our presentation. We have members of the development teams here and available virtually, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's go to public comment.
Thank you, Chair. The public comment period for item number 5 is now open. We have received 4 speaker slips here in the committee room, so we will begin testimony with Joy Sunyata. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak to item 5, and Ms. Sunyata, you will be followed by Maximilian Schmidt, allegedly Audra, and Blair Beekman.
I'm glad that some of the developers are here. That's really great. And I want you to know how much you are appreciated. The Bridge to Home, have we heard anything but kudos through the bridge, for the Bridge to Home through the years? I mean, it's totally, totally excellent. And now we're on round 7. So, Director Bibler, one request I had for you, I've been asking this of others too, and I did hear you mention one of the unit costs on one of the projects, the recommended projects, which all look good. But that unit cost printed like at the end of those photos and everything where you have those nice lists, I really want to be able to follow through on those unit numbers. And I know they're buried in some of the fine detail, but put that out there in front of our eyes so we can see that it's getting larger, the cost per unit. So let's see what else. The list of permanent resources are awesome. You know, the banks and all the financial institutions, I think there were 6 to 8 different ones on these projects. Thank you from the bottom of my heart that you're hanging in there. These projects are so complicated. And I'll just finish with this. That can you imagine a tenant, new tenant, going up to that unit door and opening the door and entering their new unit? This is a miracle for them. And I just can't tell you how exciting it is to see that this Bridge to Home project is so successful. So thank you for listening, and love to all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maximilian Schmidt.
Total set of 3 minutes.
No, this is the next item, so you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes for item number 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I just wanted to speak about the construction, which is item number 5. I'm sorry, item number 2. Item number 5?
We're on item number 5 now.
Okay, so not the construction, the bridge.
Correct.
Okay, yes. Concerning that item, we need to figure out funding, how to actually do a good job with funding, because it's been a total disgrace. And the Bridge to Home notice of funding availability round 7 informational update lacks crucial information. And I just want to say, I am on to the occult. I am on to the New World Order. I know that it's all just an occult layout, a Freemason layout, where the 3 Masons who are participating, and if you look into this, it's all nonsense. It's all gibberish. We're living in an occult world where they have construction sites that will literally like make synchronized noises to your actions. And I'm just saying that we're talking about funding, meanwhile there's direct harassment going on, is the point I'm trying to make. Where we're talking about funding, I mean, it is kind of like Allen Iverson saying we're talking about practice. We're talking about funding here, and we should be talking about assault going on in the city. And at the same time, if you look into this, it's occult gibberish and occult nonsense. If you literally look into item number 5, which is what we're talking about, Bridge to Home notice of funding availability round 7 informational update to economic development by Christian Biebler, it's nonsense. It's occult nonsense. And I think that for anyone who's a progressive liberal.
Thank you for your comment. Allegedly, Audra?
I mean, I'd like to see the analytics of this success. I mean, you guys follow your policy, so you're providing solutions, but I mean, just yesterday when Jeannie came in and was expressing her own experience with these type of programs where contracts where you're getting in and they're supposed to be providing this affordable housing, there is a lot of developers that are engaging in fraud, and the people that are managing these entities. I mean, I'm not even so sure that there's not cameras in these places. That's something that people have express concern about them being found in their vents. Sounds crazy, but it's like these types of things happen, and these people will, you know, and where is the, you know, chain of command that is making sure that this stuff doesn't happen, that once this gets out of your hands, you give that funding out, these people develop these projects, but who goes in and makes sure that, you know, there is affordable housing for these people, that they're not restricted properties, getting the tax credits and going ahead and renting them at fair market value. That does happen. That has happened in San Diego. And it's like, you know, you guys kind of just dropped the ball by going, well, we did our part. We gave them this funding, and that's like as much as we do. But on the surface, you're sitting here telling people that this is a bridge to home. And if that's a fallacy, that is extremely egregious. To be telling people that, where they're hoping when they see these buildings being built as they're walking by pushing a cart, or, you know, just looking for food, that may be a place where they're going to be able to lay their head down at night, and it doesn't have to be outside this building on cement. And so you guys need to do a better job of making sure that when you're saying that these are the things that you're going to promise, that you fucking follow through with it. Because people are suffering because you guys are so negligent.
Thank you. Blair Beekman?
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. This was an interesting item for myself. It was good to learn about. It mostly focuses on middle income, moderate housing income levels. And I found it interesting. I tend to work towards very low and extremely low housing income ideas and needs more. So that's more of my place. And but it was interesting learning about this item. I'm really interested in the future of what middle income housing can mean for our local communities and in California. To me, those sort of housing models offer more flexibility in how we can make choices with housing and how it can serve. There's just a tendency that people of moderate income levels are just more open to accepting people from lower income levels into their neighborhood for our future. I think we're all trying to address mixed income ideas, a broader range of mixed income ideas that moderate income housing can address better. And I hope we don't fear those future conversations. We're so locked in on market rate housing and keeping people excluded and separated that flexible choices about the future of our housing that are more democratic and more caring. It's ways to build community and just camaraderie between each other that this item, I think, is trying to address in a way. I mean, in the very basic sense, it's doing its job, and it's doing an important job, and thank you. I hope we can be considering the depth of what moderate income housing can be working towards in our future, and I think those are some of the ways to consider it, and I think it's hopeful and caring, and it isn't a communist plot. Well, it is technically, but the caring is important. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker for item number 5 is Admiral. And I will place 2 minutes on the clock.
Good afternoon again.
Tim Brennan.
Okay, so I want to talk about the 55-year part. I agree with it, but the 3% I'm skeptical about. So there's no public confirmation of a flat 3% interest rate on the or ground lease payments to the school district. What's more likely is I'm hearing people too also say that the developers often tout low interest financing stacks. So for example, tax exempt bonds, equity, bridge to home gap loans that can bring down significantly. Some public loans or subsidies in these deals carry very low rates, 0 to 3%, but the total development cost per unit is still sky high. And that's true because we always talk about like each unit being expensive and how we're gonna afford it, and the subsidies to get those units is just crazy. So the sky high in San Diego is commonly like 500K to 800K per unit. The district gets gets ground lease payments from Affirm Housing, but the exact rate in return isn't highlighted as 3% in the term sheet. So the 55-year affordability is legit and enforces the 3%. Is enforceable, excuse me. The 3% is probably marketing spin on subsidized financing layers, and it helps make a project pencil out for the developer, but taxpayers have to flip the bill, and the public are still on the hook for the big upfront subsidies, tax credits, and opportunities costs. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And this concludes comment here in the committee room, and seeing no hands up in the virtual queue for item 5, this concludes public testimony.
Thank you to members of the public for your participation on this issue, and that's an information item. No motion is needed, and I'll kick us off. First of all, thank you to the staff for bringing around Bridge to Home recommendations. Obviously, this is just the informational component, and at some point at City Council, there will be a full recommendation. Obviously, the demand for affordable housing remains clear. I recognize some of the the depth of affordability in many of these projects. 4th and Brooks, we're going to see 30 at-risk under or equal to 40% area median income units. For Polk Avenue housing, 70 less than or equal to 40% AMI. And then for Terralta South, 28 under 40% AMI. For folks at home who aren't entirely clear what that necessarily means, for a family of 4 the AMI for our region is about $130,000, and so we are going to be allowing folks who are at the beginning of their careers, people who are who are not making very much money, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for their family of 3 or 4, depending on the formula. Folks like that getting this type of housing. And in particular, I was encouraged to see council is our desire to meet our AFFH goals, and looking at the neighborhoods, the census tracts that these are going into for 4th and Brooks and Polk Avenue and Terralta South. Are those moderate resource? Are those high resource areas, low resource areas that we're going to be supporting housing in?
4th and Brooks is in a high resource area.
Okay. Polk Avenue and Terralta, are those moderate or are those low resource areas?
Those are low resource areas.
Okay. Obviously, we have legal obligations that need us to focus our affordable units, rent-restricted units in higher resource areas, but I'm encouraged that 4th and Brooks is. Certainly the communities around Polk Avenue and Terralta South are also in need of housing, to be very clear, but I appreciate that we are having one recommended project in a higher resource area. I did have a quick question about some of the different types of sources of funding. I've not heard of Green Vista Housing Commission, Cal HFA, but Green Vistas, that's the first I've heard of this one.
We'll ask a member of the development team to come up and respond to that question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, 4th and Brooks.
Hi there, this is Greg Osterd, president of Hampstead Companies. The Green Vistas loan is a private foundation that is loaning those funds. They are a Mission Hills based nonprofit that sold a affordable housing asset, and they have escrowed those funds to build more affordable housing in the city center. So it comes from a private foundation. It will be, I think it's a 40-year loan at also 3%.
Okay, that's first I'm hearing of them. That sounds like a pretty unique vehicle. I haven't heard of anything like that. Is that it's pretty rare?
It's pretty rare. Yeah, they they had one asset. They were a single asset faith-based entity that sold their existing affordable housing asset, and they're once that funding is expended, you know, it's gone.
Got it.
There is another, you know, another group in San Diego that is eyeing doing something. You may see more of these projects coming forth, but as of right now, it's a pretty limited resource.
All right, well, congratulations on getting that. It is a loan, right? So they will get the money back over time and then reinvest it in something else?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, appreciate that very much. Well, I have no further questions of this. I do appreciate that there's, you know, things like outdoor courtyards, other amenities, so that the for being and with and being an information item, there is no motion needed. That brings us to the end of our agenda today. So we will adjourn the Economic Development and Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting to our next regularly scheduled meeting, Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, 2 p.m. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Well, they had to get that over as soon as possible. So we're out of here in an hour and 15 minutes. So today I've got a bunch of makeup under my eyes. Anyway, yes, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll have a podcast and then potentially, possibly the environmental committee. I'm not positive, but on Friday there's definitely Sandag and other things. So stay tuned, you guys. It's never a dull moment in San Diego.